So, hi, my name is Lindsey Sowers, and I have a Doctor of Pharmacy degree, which gives me a title of pharmacist. So I am actually a manager of a local pharmacy here in Huntingdon. And we may have met at a fermenting workshop that I've been hosting in the summer. We also may have met at a women's retreat. And I have a lot of notes here. Currently I'm going to be opening up appointments, which I'll talk about a little bit at the end, for one-on-one counseling, medications and food choices, things like that. So I have a lot of different things going on in my life. I am also married and have 2 children at home, so they'll probably be watching the replay. So I love looking at health in a holistic way, with emphasis on local and seasonal foods. So I was asked to speak here today at the library to bring a fresh perspective to the holiday season and managing your food intake. And specifically, I went with sugar because that's typically what we all struggle with during the holiday season. So by the end of this talk, I'm hoping that you will understand why sugar is detrimental to your health. And I'm hoping that that will make it easier to say no to sugar if you know all the aspects that how it can harm you. And I'm also planning on providing you with simple ways or hacks, as the kids call it now, to avoid sugar. And realistic expectations when cutting your sugar intake. So my hope is that you will take this information and you will reset your taste buds, and so that you get back to having power over your food choices, not your food having power over your food choices. So I want you guys to have the power. So I think a general question I'd like to ask is, have you ever felt, and I think a lot of women would agree that they feel this way, but have you ever felt like you can't say no to a sugary snack? Like, it's just like right there and you can't say no. It's just right there and you just can't say no to it. So I completely understand that feeling, and I can wholeheartedly tell you that I just sat at dinner with my 2 kids and they had dessert and I did not. And I was totally fine with it. And they sat there eating donuts that their Graham gave them. And we were talking about what are our preferred donuts, filled or not filled, glazed, we're talking about all the options. And I was like, you know what, kids, I am totally fine with you guys eating donuts in front of me. And I am really, my donut eating days are done and I'm okay with it. So I want you guys to have that kind of power. But it takes some time and it also takes some effort. So it's not like you can flip on a switch and say, oh, I'm good, I don't need sugar anymore. It doesn't work that way. So there is a little bit of effort involved, but if you steadily stay the course, it will become easier and easier for you. So sugar is addicting. I mean, it's just a fact. Sugar is addicting. So there's nothing wrong with you wanting to eat sugar. There's nothing wrong with you wanting. Your brain says, that's going to make me feel good. I want to eat it. That's okay. All right. So right now, I just want you to take away the guilt trip you were planning on giving yourself this evening for eating whatever sugary thing you ate today. So just take it away. Don't even do it, because your brain is telling you to eat that. Your brain's like, I really want to eat that. I think we should eat that. It's going to make us feel good. Let's do it. Okay. So don't feel guilty about your human biology. The issue is the sugar that we're eating, this refined white sugar, it's dangerous. Our brain doesn't know that, but it's not natural to be eating pounds and pounds of sugar every year. And in some cases, even like every month, depending on what you're eating. Yeah. So we're going to talk briefly some science and then actionable steps to create a change, which is why you're here, right? We want to make a change. but how do we do it? So I'm going to give you actionable steps that you can leave today and you can say, okay, if I do these 2 things, I'm going to be on a better track this holiday season. So it's just going to be 2 things, but you know, simple things are sometimes really hard to do. So we're going to talk about it. So, all right. So many people believe that they are doing a great job limiting their sugar. And I'm going to give you a scenario of, yeah, I think I'm doing a really great job. And we're going to add up the extra sugar that could potentially be in that meal plan for the day. And we're going to see how we thought they were making healthy choices, or it may resonate with you and say, like, I thought I was making good choices, but there's a ton of sugar added into these food choices. And then we're going to talk about how we can substitute and make our choices better. So a lot of products have added sugar to them. So salad dressing, pasta sauce, granola bars, yogurts, even seasoning blends. I mean, it's like you have to get so picky, so minute, every little thing that you have in your house. But really what you find, it's the same stuff over and over. If you're getting yogurt that is flavored, there's going to be added sugar and added maybe coloring and preservatives. And if you stick with the plain Jane, even just vanilla or no flavor, there's not going to be as much sugar. Seasoning blends, a quick check of the label, and you're going to find a lot of seasoning blends have sugar added to them. That was like mind-blowing to me, reading through it. So you just keep everything bare bones is really a way to get rid of a lot of sugar. So sugar has over 60 different names. So I'm just going to write some of them up here so that you guys can just see them visually as we're talking. Some of them you may have seen. Some of them are common, some of them are not. So corn syrup. Now you can look this up on a search engine. There's more than just corn syrup. There's high fructose corn syrup. There's a lot of different ways to say corn syrup. So I'm kind of picking. There's crystallized fructose. There's all sorts of different fructose. But I'm just kind of making this simple. You guys can go online and check and get all 60 different names. I'm not writing all 60 on here. Malt syrup, maltose, sucrose, dextrose, maltodextrin, brown rice syrup. So sugar can hide in a lot of different names whenever you're looking at something, when you're looking at the ingredient label. So we're going to start and look at a common daily scenario, like a food diary. Basically, we're going to look at like a food diary of someone who thinks that they're eating healthy and making really great choices. So they're thinking to themselves, you know what, I'm going to try the healthier option. And so a lot of times people misconstrue that and say, I'm just going to eat a little bit less for breakfast. So we're just going to go with, so I'm just going to write a B here for breakfast. Let's say they're going to have cereal with milk. And then coffee with a cream. So I feel, okay, yeah, that's not too bad. You know, I picked a healthy cereal. Then we're going to go to lunch and salad, any kind of salad. They got some prepackaged dressing on top of it. You can use your imagination, whatever toppings they want to put on them. There are a lot of sugary toppings that you can add, but we're just going to keep it simple. They just had a salad, and then they packed yogurt. And you know what? Like some granola on the yogurt, that sounds good too. So this is pretty healthy, right? Maybe they saved their yogurt and granola for a snack. So supper is pasta and veggies. It's healthy. And we're going to add sauce on top. again, just use your imagination. It doesn't have to be very specific. I'm not looking for specifics. I'm just kind of a general day in the life of this fictional person who wants to be healthy. So off to the side here, I'm going to write additional sugars that were added. So I don't know what type of milk that they chose, but a lot of milk has some added sugar in it. Creamer obviously has some added sugar, and cereal, even if you think you're picking the healthiest cereal, has sugar added to it. So at least 10 teaspoons. Now, maybe this was someone, they wanted to go, you know, with like the Special K or Fiber One cereal, or maybe this was someone who was like, you know what I'm eating Lucky Charms. So we don't know what they're choosing. We're just saying generally cereal, 10 teaspoons of added sugar from our breakfast. But you know, they needed it. They needed to get going for their day. So the salad with the dressing and the yogurt, granola, 9 teaspoons of added sugar. And then our supper did pretty good here, 3 teaspoons of sugar. All right. Now, mind you, this is no sugary drinks added, no dessert, no candy, no sneaking 3 M&Ms from the M&M dish. That is not accounted for in here. So this is over 20 teaspoons, it's actually 20 teaspoons of sugar for the day.
That's added sugar?
That's added sugar. So, and this is just kind of generally what you would find if this is your kind of baseline. I just chose this purposefully because a lot of people say, I'm going to eat salad for lunch, and then they buy prepackaged ranch dressing and they cover it in ranch dressing. So even if you're buying prepackaged Italian dressing, it doesn't really matter. That is like a substitute you can make. Just make your own dressing. I mean, you save yourself a ton of sugar. Just make your own dressing. I mean, you can make amazing dressing for the whole week. It'll last all week in the fridge in a container, and it doesn't take very long. And you're also getting rid of all the chemicals that are added, all the preservatives that are added in your dressing that you're buying from the store. So I'm not saying today, I'm not saying that you guys can't have sugar. I'm not saying that we shouldn't eat sugar. Okay, so like we need glucose in our body to function. We need that every day. What we're specifically talking about today is white, refined, not normally found in nature sugar. Yes.
How many teaspoons of that kind of sugar should you have a day?
So we looked that up, and like as a family, we were talking about it, and it's 24 grams of sugar for a male, 20 grams of sugar for a female. So it's actually in grams, not in teaspoons. So it's smaller. Also, grams is what you'll find in your labels when you look on here. So like this drink has 0 added sugars, but there's already sugar because there's apples in here. Pretty sure there's apples. Cucumbers, celery, it's probably at the bottom. Grapefruit. I don't see apple in this one. So anyways, the sugars that are in the vegetables that are in the grapefruit, there's natural sugar. So that's okay, natural sugar, but we're still not looking to eat fruit all day long, if that makes sense. So this has 6 grams of sugar, 0 grams of additional sugar. So it goes by grams. So if you count your grams for the day, you can very easily, as you know, I mean, just look at a can of soda and it's 30 plus grams of sugar, and you're supposed to be at 20, 24. How does that work out? So, I mean, we are astronomically over our sugar intake. And this isn't to beat anyone's brow for you. This is why I left like kind of general, because what I don't want you to do is go home and start looking at all your labels and counting the sugar and beating yourself up. Like this is not the guilt trip. You know what I mean? This is, how can I make some substitutions so that I feel better and I am making a connection to, I eat sugar, I feel bad. I don't eat sugar, I feel better. So that's kind of, so my 2 substitutions that I will give you throughout the lecture are ways to make you feel better. So what I want you to do is reset, like I said, reset your taste buds. I want you to reset the loop in your brain, because right now the loop in your brain is sugar, happy, more sugar, happy, happy, And so what will happen is when you start making substitutions, like the green drink that I brought, to substitute that instead of an unhealthy snack, what ends up happening is when you go back to that unhealthy snack, you eat it and you're like, I feel like crap. Oh my gosh, I don't remember feeling this way before, but I mean, I feel awful right now. And so it might be your gut, it might be that you have a headache, whatever it is that manifests for you, you're going to say, I don't want to eat that anymore. But it takes a while to develop that feedback loop, because right now you're in this positive and I want to eat more and I want to eat more. And what I want you to get is to a negative. I eat sugar and I don't feel so good. And I eat more sugar and I feel worse. And so right now, like in my journey, if I eat too much sugar, which is usually a small amount of sugar, sometimes I have a stomach ache. Sometimes my teeth hurt, like my teeth actually hurt. It's the weirdest thing. Sometimes I get a headache. Sometimes I just feel foggy and I don't feel very clear. Sometimes visually and mentally, I don't feel clear. I don't like feeling that way. And so I have created this negative loop where I eat something toxic, like white sugar, and my brain is like, oh, I don't feel so good. And so I'm out of the positive loop. That's where I want to get you guys out of the positive loop and into this negative loop of, I don't want to eat that junk. I'm going to stay away from it. So that's the goal. So I mean, this is like the circled key takeaway in the science part is that sugar triggers a pleasurable feeling. It just does. And that's why manufacturers put it in everything, because they want you to buy more. And they want you to eat more. That's why they put it in there. It really is. It's a money-making game. And so when you add sugar to things, they make more money. That's what they found out. So when you eat sugar, your body releases dopamine. It's a neurotransmitter. It makes you feel happy. It's the same thing like when you get a ding on your phone and you're like, ooh, somebody said something to me. It's the same type of dopamine response where you feel happy. So also the same way, dopamine can be released in normal amounts when you see a child giggle, when you walk outside and you're walking through a garden path with beautiful flowers and trees changing colors, you just feel happy, right? So that's like a normal dopamine release and it makes you feel happy. That's normal. When you eat white sugar, like this breakfast, there's so much sugar in there, which requires your body to dump so much dopamine into your bloodstream that what happens is your body starts freaking out. Okay, we don't see this on the inside, right? But what's actually happened is your body is now in a stressful state. It's like, oh my gosh, we got all this sugar. We got to do something here, folks, people, because we are on overload right now. All right. Well, I don't even have enough dopamine to dump into this system. We got to start turning off receptors, dopamine receptors. So it's like light switches. They just start. We got to turn this stuff off, people. We're on overload here. So like the little, think of it like little workers that are in charge. Nope, way too much sugar. Let's flip off these dopamine receptors. Okay. Dopamine makes us happy. So what actually ends up happening is the more sugar you eat, the more unhappy you become. So if you think of it, you're feeling kind of grouchy, you're feeling emotional. What do you go for? Some chocolate to make yourself feel better, some candy to make yourself feel better, right? Like we all know this, but it's different to hear it in this way. So I try to present it in a different way. All right. So these switches are being flipped off left and right, like crazy. They're being flipped off because the more sugar you eat, the more they have to flip off those receptors. So in like science world, we call that down regulation. So we're lowering the amount of receptors that are available. But lay people would say this is developing a tolerance. So how can you drink 3 Mountain Dews a day? Well, I don't know. I started with 1 and then I drinking 2 and now I'm up to 3 and, it's really not doing so much. So I think I'm going to start drinking 4 cans of Mountain Dew. So you're developing a tolerance because those little workers are like, whoa, this isn't normal. We are not supposed to have this much sugar in here. Things are getting turned off left and right. So again, I will say again, the more sugar you're eating, the more unhappy you're becoming because you're turning off all these dopamine receptors. And that's how we have happiness. That's how we have a good feeling. So the little bit of sugar then doesn't really do much for you. And so you develop that tolerance where you need more and more and more. So it really does create a stressful state for your body. And that's why it's like all out panic and we got to start down regulating. All right. So I'm flying through here. I'm flying through my notes. All right. So this book is improperly named at talking about weight loss. It is more about you understanding the effects of sugar in your body. And she gives you a lot of different things that you can do. But the first half of the book is knowledge, and the second half of the book is actionable steps. So if afterwards you guys want to take like a photo of it, you really do end up losing weight. But she really breaks it down easily in explaining sugar and the toxic effects of sugar. So Dr. Chaudhry in this book, this like really hit home for me. She explained how your body can't tell the difference between sugar and cocaine because they are both a stressful experience for your body. They are both addicting. So like if we found sugar today, it would be like an illegal drug. I mean, it wouldn't be legal for us. It would be an illegal drug. That's how stressful it is for your body whenever you're eating a breakfast and a lunch like this. It's just too much sugar. Your body can't handle it. And to put those two together, candy and cocaine, it just blew my mind. So she explains it very well. And it's just really amazing to think that it's that harmful to your body, and it's that addicting to your body. So we're going to talk about how the science part of it, how it is harmful to your body and how damaging it can be to your cells. So I have a lot of information that science isn't for everyone. So I'm going to kind of go through it and you'll be hearing keywords that, issues that you're dealing with, you'll be hearing keywords. So sugar can bind to hormone receptors, all right? And it can make your body less receptive to certain things being insulin. So we've heard this, too much sugar, insulin resistance, diabetes, okay? But also less receptive to mood stabilizers, which can cause depression. Less sensitive to testosterone, which can cause erectile dysfunction. And an overabundance of sugar. So if you're eating a lot of sugar and you're constantly eating the sugar, your body ends up being kind of overrun. It can't clean up everything. So what happens, there's these sticky substances, they're called AGEs, which is kind of funny because ages, sugar ages you. So they're called advanced glycation end products. So these AGEs, they actually damage healthy cells and tissues by hardening them. So it's like whenever you cook sugar to the point of it getting sticky and then hard like a piece of candy, that's kind of what it does to your cells. And if a group of cells get hardened, it can result in clicking joints, stiff joints, arthritis, hardening of your arteries, blocking then small blood vessels, which creates poor circulation, varicose veins, numbness in your extremities. And then also that can have issues, that poor circulation can have issues visually for people and eventually leading to blindness. And a lot of those are common things that you hear with people with diabetes, because the issue is too much sugar and their body can't deal with it. So if that's not enough, these AGEs, they also, while the AGEs are destroying healthy cells, they're damaging them. The sugar also slows neural communication. So neural meaning nerve. So sluggish brain, which is exactly what I was saying, like the brain fog after the sugar, you know, and then that makes it harder to learn new things because it's hard to focus. But dementia, that is also something that is attributed to too much sugar, and we're talking long term. So not like you eat something, you know, you eat poorly for a year, that doesn't mean that you're going to just be thrown into a state of dementia where you're not knowing what's going on. So sugar also accelerates cholesterol production and wreaks havoc on your nervous system. So that would include anxiety, heart palpitations, headaches. So I feel like there's probably at least one thing there that I mentioned that you can say, yeah, I do have those often. Even eczema and a constant runny nose can be from too much sugar. So those things can actually clear up with less sugar. And I know that this sounds extreme, but I can give you a really quick example. We completely cleaned up our diet, and this wasn't just sugar. There was a whole bunch of other things involved. But my son was 3 and he had major allergies. We went to the allergy doctor and he did the testing on his back with the little needles to see what he was allergic to. They didn't really get a clear picture, and they said it was because of his age. And so he was on like Zyrtec antihistamine, a prescription, singular. He was on a steroid inhaler, and then he had a rescue, like a nebulizer machine for like a rescue inhaler, but he wasn't great at using inhalers because he's 3. So we're thinking, like, what do we do? It seems like everything triggers this poor kid. And, you know, constant runny nose. And what would happen if the runny nose was too bad, it would kind of like keep going down, it would get in his lungs, and then he'd be wheezing. And so we completely changed our diet. I said, we're not doing this. I'm not feeding him this kind of stuff anymore. And so it was a drastic change. And within 6 months, we got him off of everything except for the Zyrtec. And after another 6 months, he was off of the Zyrtec, which was the over-the-counter antihistamine. But he was off all prescription medication within 6 months, and it was incredible. And so a year later, we're like, this is mind-boggling. I can't believe this. Like, this is so amazing. And so, of course, when you have that experience, you want to tell people about it. But just like I'm telling you about the effects of sugar, sometimes it's hard to believe. Sometimes you just need to live it, and you just need to do it and jump in. And in a year from now, you're going to say, I feel so amazing. I can't even believe that I was feeling this way a year ago, and now I'm feeling this way now. It's just incredible. So let's go back to our food diary, our fictional scenario here, and we're going to make some quick changes. So the first thing that I can tell you to do is get rid of your cereal. Okay, so I don't care what kind of cereal it is, don't eat it. It's junk, it's processed, it has extra sugar in it. I don't care what kind it is, don't eat it. It's not good for you. So to substitute in this scenario here, what I would say is to add an egg. Like, how easy is it to toss an egg on the skillet, whatever you like, fried, dippy, you know, whatever you like, but hard boiled. You can hard boil a bunch of eggs the beginning of the week and have one every morning. But the added protein in here is going to make you feel like you can go longer without food, because this is like all sugar, all dumping in your system at one time. There's no protein to make anything last throughout the day. So you're going to be hungry in 2 hours. Actually, you're going to need your sugar fix in 2 hours. That's what's going to happen in this scenario here. So like that, it's super simple. Like, I mean, just get rid of the cereal and switch over to an egg. Or the reason why I chose egg is because you can cook an egg and not put salt and pepper on it. And, you know, whatever your food restrictions are, maybe you are limiting your salt. You could just add some fresh parsley or dried parsley or basil, or you can add to it without adding sugar very easily. It's an easy thing to do. So, and then the other thing would be, I would replace the creamer with just regular milk. That's going to save a lot of chemicals, preservatives, and sugar, to just switch over, and if you can, switch over to just milk. For lunch, what I'm going to say is, we talked earlier about the yogurt option, just plain yogurt. If you want to add something to it, buy some fresh fruit and add it in. Or when fruit is abundant, freeze it and then pull it out and toss it in with your yogurt, and you still have a really fresh yogurt. And you can do something, you know, you save like blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries and toss them in the freezer, and you can throw a couple on your yogurt every day. And then it's just plain yogurt, and then you can flavor it however you want to. The granola has a lot of sugar in it. If you can switch that out. But my suggestion for this is to, number one, add some sort of protein to the salad. I know we said just use your imagination for the salad, but add some kind of protein, beans, meat, to the salad. The protein is going to help, because what's happening here is like sugar spike down, and so you're just putting yourself on this roller coaster of a day, and that's exhausting for your body. So if we can kind of even it out a little bit and add some protein in there, it's going to be a lot better for you mentally, but for your body also. So my suggestion here, add some protein, but also just make your own salad dressing. So all you have to do is like Google, let's say you like a Italian kind of dressing. So Google paleo Italian dressing or Whole30 Italian dressing. You're going to find recipe ideas that are going to use natural sugars like honey or coconut sugar, so that you're not using the white sugar. And also, it's going to be so much better. It's going to be so flavorful, and you can tailor it and get exactly what you want. And then the last, for supper, honestly, that looks great. Pasta, veggies with sauce. There's only 3 extra teaspoons of sugar. You could get pretty particular here and whittle this down. You can buy tomatoes and make your own tomato sauce, but I'm not looking to give you suggestions that are going to cause your day to be stressful. Like, I've never even made pasta sauce. How do I go about even doing that? Like, I don't want that. So for 3 teaspoons of sugar, we're not even going to tackle that today. We're not even going to go after that. So, you know, the main meat of what we're going to change here is these first 2 meals. So having a food diary, I mean, I know this is like not talking about any kind of evening snack. This is not talking about drinks. This was just kind of an illustration to show that like that's a lot of sugar. So if we add 1 can of Mountain Dew, we're at 52 grams of sugar, like it's crazy. Or maybe more. I think maybe 41 grams of sugar in Mountain Dew. So yeah, it would be, yeah, it's bad. So anyways, food journal. If you can do that, that would be amazing. If you can food journal, because sometimes we unconsciously eat foods and we don't realize it. And so if we're writing down everything we're eating, you can look back in the day and say, oh, okay, maybe I did a little bit of emotional eating today. Maybe I could scale things back. And so a lot of it really, and I think you ladies all know this, it's about planning. So if you have an idea of what you're eating for supper, you know that supper's made, you're not panicking about what you're going to have for supper. Sometimes, I know in the past, I don't even know what I'm going to have for supper as you're munching on some sort of sugary snack, you know, like you're panicking about supper. So if we think ahead, that makes supper a whole lot easier. So part of the journey is just being mindful and being conscious of what we're eating. And that's what a food journal can do, quite honestly. A food journal can make you look at what you're eating. So I did bring a substitute today, which is Suja organic greens. And they have a lot of different products, and I specifically today for you guys, I'm recommending the Uber greens. So Giant food store in town, they used to have like 4 different kinds, and now they only have 1. And when I went there today, they don't have any of these right now. So just FYI, if you would like to get one of these, you would need to go up to Walmart. Walmart also carries Uber greens. And what I love about Uber greens is there's 6 grams of sugar in this entire bottle. Not a lot of sugar, but
6 grams of added sugar in that?
no added sugar at all. There's 0 added sugar. So the 6 grams of sugar, I don't get upset about because it's from the plants that grew. It's the sugar that's already in them naturally. So if you're counting white refined sugar, then you're just 0. Like just count it as a 0 because there's no added sugar in this. But the other greens, there's Noon greens and another one, they have like 16, 17 grams of sugar because they have a lot of fruit. Not even a lot. I mean, it's a little bit of fruit added into their drink to make it more palatable. And we're trying to get off of extra sugar. We're trying to get off of that roller coaster. So that's why I'm recommending this one specifically. My husband loves this. So what's great about this? So like it's like $4.50 for a bottle at Giant and $3.50 for a bottle up at Walmart.
Is that a meal substitute or like a snack in between, or what's that?
It is not. So this is going to be your substitute when you have a craving.
Okay.
So this is in the afternoon when you're extremely low at work and you need you need a sugar fix. That's how you feel. Or even a salt fix, whatever it is that's unhealthy that you're trying to get off of. Sometimes you need to have something that you're intaking, because if you just say, no, I'm not gonna eat it, I'm not gonna eat it, I'm not gonna eat it, your body wants something. And so I'm going to talk about that in a second here, but your body is looking for nutrition. And so this is actually nutrition instead of just drinking some water. It's not going to quell that feeling of needing nutrition, which is a craving that your body, we call it cravings, but your body wants some sort of nutrition. So I'm just I drank out of this one because there weren't many people here today and I didn't bring water. So I thought, well, okay, then I'm going to drink that. So I'm going to pour a sample for you guys to try.
Does it taste better than it looks? I just asked because
yes.
Okay,
so
that's good because
it does, and it takes some getting used to. It really does take some getting used to. But after you hear about everything that we've talked about scientifically, why you would want to do that, it makes sense to do it. So this is more, like I said, this is really an investment in yourself.
Don't smell it.
Yeah, I would.
cheers.
Yes.
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. That actually tastes like vegetable soup. Kind of like V8. A little bit.
Yeah.
Tastes like a V8.
Like a greener version of V8.
Yeah.
Because it's no tomato, so it's like a greener version. So
So like the fruit one, the one that would have more fruit would be like a little bit sweeter, which I know we're not supposed to like. Look for
yes,
sweet
so
stuff, but-
Noon greens, what you'll find, there's 3 different ones, but what you'll find is people have a tendency towards a certain flavor. So this one, there's a lot of cucumber and celery. So they have like the listing at the top here. And the one that I like is Noon greens because it's like apple and celery. And so that is more palatable for me.
Can I read the ingredients?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, that was good. Yeah, we'll just pass this around.
Can you use like
Yeah.
artificial sweetener? That help?
I'm not a fan of artificial sweetener. So if you're going to add something, I would be looking at some sort of fruit to add to it. So cut up some pineapples. If you're looking for something sweet, I would go more for a piece of fruit. if you're looking to add something sweet, which would be a great substitution instead of M&Ms eating some pineapple. But there still is that level of a sugar roller coaster and that we're looking to step away from. So I was talking about your body, like giving you cravings. So it's trying to say to you, I want some nutrition. That's what it's saying. So the scenario that I give a lot of times is when you go and eat, let's say you're going out to eat and you have a burger and fries. You're going fast food. We've all done it. And you eat a burger and fries. When you're done with that burger and fries, you're like, okay, like, should I get like a shake, or still kind of hungry? Like, just something to munch on? I don't know if you can recall, but most likely you have that feeling afterwards where you're looking for something to munch on, right? You're looking for something else in addition. And so that's your body saying, you just ate a full meal and completely filled up your stomach, and I have nothing I can use here. Like, this is trash. You're giving me trash, and what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to move your arms and your legs and your head and your eyes to get you back in the vehicle to drive you home, let alone the brain function to pay attention to all these cars and the lights and the directions home, and to make sure we remember that we turn at the right place? So there's so many things in your body that are trying to coordinate. And if we're not giving our body the nutrition that it needs, well, how can we get upset when our body doesn't perform the way that we want it to? How can you be upset when you're just not even giving it what it needs? And so that's what a craving is. A craving is saying, I need something from you and I can't tell you what it is. And so on your food journey, I hope at some point you can get to, okay, I have these symptoms of dizziness. I think I need to drink more water, or eat something, or add more salt, or maybe some protein. And so I hope that you can get to the point where you feel something and even at bare minimum, know that you need more nutrition. And so that is like another angle of this green drink, is that you're feeding your body instant nutrition, because there are vitamins and minerals in those veggies that, quite honestly, if you look at all the veggies in there, you're not gonna eat that in one day or one sitting. So this is instant, because it is juice and it is your body doesn't have to digest anything. It just goes right there, gives the nutrition it needs, and hopefully that is what it needs. We don't know for sure that's what our body needs, but at the very minimum, this is canceling that positive feedback of sugar, happy, sugar, more sugar, more sugar, more sugar. And we're canceling that out and saying, no, this abundance of white sugar is making us sick. So there's like so many different levels to why I'm recommending the green juice. Yeah.
Are the other brands of this and stuff? And they're just, I think why I didn't like it's cucumber is the highest thing. I don't like cucumbers, but it also has grapefruit in it. And I don't even know which one of my medications I can't have grapefruit. Yes. I don't like grapefruit anyway, but you're not supposed to have it because of the medication. Are there other of these drinks that don't have those in, maybe, or do they all seem to have the same thing?
They're all very, very different. Okay. They're all very different. So some things are the same. But what you'll notice is the notes of cucumber are lower on one type of green drink than another. Yeah. And the grapefruit juice that would be in there would be very tiny. And the other thing that I can recommend is, a lot of times we're dehydrated. So sometimes early on, whenever I started doing this as a substitute, I would pour half green drink and half water. To dilute it, to just, because I'm thinking I don't want to spend $3.50 every day on a green drink, right? Now I am not saying that you need to drink the whole thing every day, but it could just be a quarter of it every day. It gives you a time frame. Once you open it, I think they want you to drink it within 5 to 7 days.
Yeah, it says enjoy within 5 days.
There you go. Yeah. So it is fresh food that is juiced and put in there. So you do have a time frame, but one of these a week, if you think about that in the long run, what it could translate into the savings of, if you're a person who is like, oh, I'm just grabbing my groceries and I'm going to grab a candy bar too. You know, it's $1 something for a candy bar. And if you're doing that repetitively, or you're going through a drive-through, like you're going to Downtown Joe's grabbing a coffee every day, or like a specialty coffee, you know, it's like $5 a day. So, you know, there's all sorts of ways of looking at it, and the mindset is also another part in this journey. You know, the mindset, and that is, let me make sure I got my. Oh, yes, one other. Okay. So the mindset is really important too. So if you are saying, I'm not going to eat that cake, I'm not going to eat that cake, your brain doesn't hear the not, your brain just hears cake, 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 because that's what you're focusing on, right? So if you're thinking to yourself, I'm not going to eat the whatever coveted snack I always go to every day, I'm going to have my green drink, I'm going to do this instead. And so you have the substitution already there. So what you're thinking in your head is, green drink, how am I going to power through that green drink? Because believe me, the first week of the green drink does not taste great. It doesn't, but it gets better because over time, you're tasting the different flavors that are in there, because you're resetting your taste buds. Your taste buds aren't just only thinking about sugar now. They're like, oh, there's some lemon in there. Got some mint. Oh, and you're tasting the full flavor of it, not just sugar, salt, sugar, salt. So the other reason why I also recommended this, and you can buy powdered greens, you could just buy a container of powdered greens and pour that, like mix it in with water. You can do that too. So for me, working in a grocery store, I just go grab the green drink because it's cold and it's ready to go and it's easily accessible. Other than that, you know, if it's a tough day, that's what I will go for. Not the bag of chips that I went to before. I go for the green drink. But I bring in all of my food because everything there is prepared and it's not something that I want to eat. So I bring in all of my food, but this is my go-to if I need something, in addition to, you know, I'm just feeling stressed and I'm looking for a comfort food. That's my substitution. But the added greens will also flush out some extra sugars in your body. So it's even an added benefit because greens do that in general. That's why we're supposed to eat our green vegetables, and to flush out a little bit extra sugar. Okay, so my other pack. So this is coconut sugar. So you can see what it looks like. During the holiday season, you're making things. So this coconut sugar would be a 1-to-1 substitute to white refined sugar. It is much different in taste because it's not as sweet as regular sugar. So your you know, coveted pie isn't going to be as sweet. And so that might not be appealing to everyone. But the other thing you could do is half white sugar and half coconut sugar. So you could do something like that. So you're kind of weaning everyone off of the sugar, but you don't have to go full throttle. You can do half and half. The other thing you can do a lot of times, I've found that you can just take automatically like 20% of sugar out of a recipe and it'll still perform just as well. So you can, I have like a cake recipe that calls for a cup of sugar that gives me like a pretty nice 9x9 cake. I just put in 3/4 of a cup.
So does it taste different because it's not as sugary, so to speak? Or does it taste different? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can rip it open. I can pour some in a container afterwards, so you can try it. But basically, it's more of a natural sugar, so it doesn't taste as sweet.
Okay.
So that would be the best way.
It tastes sweet, like
it's still sweet. Absolutely, it's still sweet. but it has like a sweet and minerally maybe type of flavor. Like sugar is like just sweet, full throttle. And this is a little bit different because we're not used to that. We're used to it just tasting sweet. Well, this has some minerals with it, just naturally occurring. And so you can't take that out unless you refine it, which then gets you to
Yeah.
the ingredient. we're
Does
trying
it
to stay
have
away
that aftertaste like stevia has and stuff or
from.
no?
Yeah, I don't like the aftertaste of stevia.
Yeah, that's why I
do
wondered,
not
does
like-
it have
No, it
aftertaste
does
to it?
not.
Okay.
It does
Doesn't
not.
have calories in it, though.
Let's see. 15 calories in 1 teaspoon. It says there's 4 grams of sugar in a teaspoon. I mean, so it is sugar, so it's going to have calories. It's going to be considered
So I
sugar.
think the calories are the same as regular sugar. Correct.
Oh, okay. I do not know the answer to
I
that
think it is.
because I don't have much regular sugar in my house. I have regular sugar for, I make my own kombucha. So I have regular sugar for that because that's what the bacteria need.
Yeah, there's 16 calories in a teaspoon.
So very similar. So with this, you get minerals. And so that slows the release of the sugar into your bloodstream, making it much easier for your body to deal with the sugar and also less freak out, less down regulation, flipping switches, panic. There's much less of that.
Can you get that at Walmart also?
You can get that at Walmart. It might not be this specific company. They change all the time. So I know that you can get coconut sugar. It's just a matter of what Bob's Red Mill, they have a green package of coconut sugar. And then there's a couple other companies around that you can find. So you might have to look in the organic aisle, but you might be able to find it in the aisle with the sugar too. I'm not 100% where. A lot of times I just order from VitaCost. They have good coupons. So sometimes I just order several packages that get me free shipping and then I have it and I don't have to worry about it. So these are like the 2 changes that I am suggesting that you enact today, this week. Go home, buy them and start your awesome journey. So I also want to talk just a little bit about how you're going to feel whenever you start cutting sugar. And it's directly proportional to the amount of sugar that you're cutting out. So we talked about sugar is a drug. It's addicting. So you're going to have a withdrawal period. There's going to be a period where you're feeling not so great. So this could be headaches. This could be just all out fatigue, like completely tired. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to get off caffeine, same type of concept. Like it's just difficult. You don't feel great. You're tired. That's what you're going to have. But I can give you the reasoning why. And sometimes if you have the reason why, it makes a little bit more sense. So when you eat sugar, another thing that happens is the bad bacteria in your gut, they like that sugar. So they gobble it up and they make babies, and there's, harmful bacteria. I shouldn't say harmful, but there's good bacteria and bad bacteria, right? And so like if we're feeding the bad, there's going to be more bad than good, and that's not a good thing. So then you get gas and you get either constipation or diarrhea, depending on your body. But what happens is when you start eating less sugar, you're starving those bacteria. And the craving of sugar that you get is those bacteria screaming for life. So they are literally on their dying deathbed saying, eat more sugar, because they want to live, right? So that's the craving. That's the cravings that you're getting when you're feeling that way. That's them saying, hey, knocking on the door like, hey, eat some sugar. Remember me? I need sugar to live. And so if you stop that sugar intake, they will die. But it can take up to 2 weeks for those waves. It just comes in waves because waves of them are dying at the same time. And they want you to eat more sugar. They want to stay alive. I mean, it's just human biology, right? Like they just want to live. So the mindset thing, just a couple notes that I have here. Just as a work shift ends, so will these cravings. But it's getting over the hump. And some people, they just don't want to deal with feeling crappy for a couple weeks. And so they don't do it. But these products make it easier for you to get through those 2 weeks. And sometimes if you just know there's an end to it, it's easier to get through. The other thing is you don't have to completely cut out sugar. So you can just kind of dial it back a little bit and not feel as horrible, right? So if we like completely cut out sugar, it would just be really difficult. So just cut out like 20%, cut out 50%. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. And the last thing that I want to say is that before we try this coconut sugar, supplements can also make this easier. So if you're deficient in vitamins and minerals, kind of like we talked about with this, like this will give you added vitamins and minerals. If you have those on board, it makes it easier to deal with the changes. The cravings aren't so intense. The fatigue isn't as bad. So right now I am accepting clients that would want to go through that change, and it would be easier for them to have tailored supplements on board. So what I do in about a 45-minute session that is specifically timed is I do a urinalysis that will look at what's in your urine, the pH of your urine. I'll also do a saliva test just for the pH of your saliva. And I can go through all of your prescription meds, all your over-the-counter meds, streamline everything, tell you what you need, what you don't need, and what you need more of to make the process easier for you. So it's basically like a tailored regimen for you. So if anyone is interested in something like that, the best way to get a hold of me is email. So dr.lindseysowers@gmail. So drlindseysowers@gmail.com. So I really am very passionate about the food that you're eating then is creating the environment, the terrain of your body. And if we are not feeding ourselves good food, then we are not going to get the performance that we want out of our body. And it's going to start breaking down in ways that, as I listed, you can kind of correlate to certain types of food, but sugar is just so addictive. And it's one of the things that is very difficult to get away from. But once you can make that positive feedback a negative one and say, when I eat this, I feel badly, and you can really step away from the addiction and feel what it feels like to have too much sugar in your body, it is life changing. And the clarity, I mean, just I'm talking like actual clarity, like your vision is better, but you have less fatigue, you have less brain fog, the clicking joints start going away, the pains start going away, the inflammation starts going down, and you'll find that you actually need less medication than what you thought just a few short months ago. It's incredible the changes that can happen. So I appreciate you guys coming today. I applaud you for taking an hour out of your day and saying, like, I'm worth it. I want to find a way to make myself healthier and make myself feel better, because that's essentially what you're saying here today. Like, I'm ready to make a change, but I don't know what that change may be. Now you have 2 actionable steps going forward, and you can stretch this green juice as long as you need to. And the sugar, you can not, it doesn't have to be completely getting rid of white sugar, do it in baby steps. But just these 2 changes alone can really make a huge, huge difference on your health. So I wish you all the best in your health journey, and I really appreciate being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.